let's come down onto our backs. Bend the knees, plant the feet. You can take the feet a little bit wider than the hips and just gently start to rock. Side and then to side. So start slow, which is like, fall is so funny. Like the mornings are so cold and I just want to hide. And then the afternoons, like this afternoon, I went on a long walk with my oldest son. I was like, it's gorgeous out here. I don't even need, I mean, I was in a sweatshirt, but I don't need a jacket. Like, it's amazing. And the rain had stopped, but it still smelled so good. I was like, oh, this is so perfect. So right now, we're kind of like in the morning of our practice, right? So we want to move a little bit slow, wake up our body, convince it, yes, we want to get out of bed. And then when you're ready, bring the knees back to center. Realign your spine if you need to. Maybe lift your hips, just make sure everything's in line. And then pull knees into chest and rock side to side. Start to focus on your breath. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, making that exhale longer and deeper, and then every inhale trying to expand the inhale and make the exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. And then eventually, take your knees still into the chest, take your right hand out to a T and let your knees fall over to the left. First, gentle supine twist. The left hand can rest on the top of the knees, encouraging them to descend a little bit more, or it can also just go wherever you are comfortable. It can also help support the bottom knee if it's not all the way on the ground. Right shoulder stays on the mat. And then maybe if you're a person that likes to turn the head, because that's okay with your neck, go ahead and turn the head to the right. Take a few deep breaths. And then turn the head back to the center. If you have the head turned, engage the core, wake up that fiery part of the middle of your body. Bring the knees back to center. Maybe rock side to side, just realigning the spine. And then when you're ready, left arm out to a T, knees go over to the right. And then once again, deep breaths here. Maybe contemplating, what is it that you need in your life? Do you need a little bit more joy? So maybe you would pick a text that is lighthearted and fun. Or do you need to like buckle down and get a little bit more serious so that you can grow in ways that you haven't yet? Turn the head if you like to do that and it's okay with your neck. Deeply breathe. And then engage the core when you're ready. Bring the knees back to center. Once again, wiggle around a little bit so that you make sure that your spine is long and straight on the mat. And then take that right knee into the chest. Extend the left leg down the mat. You can choose to keep the left leg bent and the foot planted. And then do those little circles that we do sometimes with the right knee. So as big as you can use your hands as guidance. Trains come in. So when it gets close, and I can't talk anymore, we're gonna reverse direction. And if your hip is like, I'm all done with this direction, but the train isn't letting me talk, then you can just pull the knee into your chest. Then plant that right foot down. Plant the left foot so both knees are bent. Pause there for a second and extend the arms up to the sky. Reach the arms up so the shoulders lift off the mat. And then let them drop down. The hands might widen so the shoulders feel really heavy on the mat. Inhale, reach up, stretch to the sky, keep the spine and the back of the head on the mat, and then exhale, shoulders come down to the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. And then let your elbows come down to the ground so that your palms are still facing each other and fingers are pointing to the sky, but the elbows are down. And then we're gonna go into cactus arms. So palms face up to the sky and palms come up towards your head. And then we're gonna pull the arms up, elbows still tied to the ground, palms face each other, and then palms face down, and you're gonna let the palms come down towards the ground, so like reverse cactus arms. And the palms might, like my palms don't meet the ground. So I have a little bit of restriction of motion here. And then inhale, palms turn towards each other, fingertips to the sky. And then exhale, palms turn into cactus arms. Inhale to bring the fingertips towards the sky. Turn the palms to face each other. Exhale, turn the palms towards the feet and let the palms come down towards the earth. Do that 2 more times. So inhale, fingertips up to the sky, palms turn towards each other. So the palms are always turning so that they face the feet as you exhale into either cactus arms, for me right now, or what I'm going to call reverse cactus arms, where our hands are down by our hips. Exhaling into the shoulder rotation. And then once you're done with 2 more, which I'm about to finish the second full round, kind of just wiggle the arms and shoulders out. So we're getting into the hips, we're getting into the shoulders of it. So now left leg comes into the chest, right leg can opt to go down the mat or stay bent. And then circles with your knee, one direction. Deep breaths. And then the other direction. long train, you guys. And then bring that knee in, let the foot touch down, other foot joins it. Knees and ankles are in line with the sits bones. Once again, reach the arms up. This time, take hands to opposite elbows. And we're gonna do that little knees towards one side, windshield wiper, elbows towards the other side, and then switch. So once again, link it to the breath. There are lots of options here. You can inhale towards center, and then exhale towards one side. That makes it a little bit slower. You can also inhale towards one side, and then exhale towards the other side. And then if you want to, you can add the head, only if it's okay with your neck. Head follows the knees. So it's going opposite the elbows. And you can play with the arms a little bit, depending on what your body is like. Maybe your elbows want to be just a little bit higher than your shoulders. Maybe you get a better stretch that way. My chest blocks me from having my elbows like right above my shoulders. I can't stretch as much. Maybe you want your elbows just slightly underneath your shoulders, because that gives a better stretch across the shoulder. So whatever works for you, little adjustments like that are totally fine. One more to each side. And then shake the arms out. Plant the hands near the hips. Lift both legs into the air and shake the legs out. Shake the feet. Get some motion in those ankles. Awesome. Bring the feet back down to the mat. And then the knees wide, feet together, Supta Baddha Konasana. Hands can come to the belly to feel the breath. A few breaths here, just feeling your inner thighs, feeling the weight of the knees. Pull the legs towards the ground. And then bring one knee up and roll onto the other side. So that one knee brought up joins the other knee, and then gently push yourself up to a seated position. And if you were seated at the beginning, maybe just notice your hips. Do they feel any different than when you first sat? Are your knees like descended a tad bit more? Maybe, maybe not. Is it too hot in here, you guys? Do I need to turn off? Okay, good. Okay, let's take a couple breaths. Notice your actual brain inside your head. So it shifts around inside your head dependent on where your head is in proportion to the rest of your body and gravity. So it was like leaning towards the back of the head, now it's leaning towards the bottom of the head. So just maybe you can't feel that, but pretend you can feel that. Take a deep breath. Notice how the breath moves slightly differently through the body in this upright position. So this is part of Svadhyaya, self-study. Just noticing like the most intricate things that you can notice. Feel the breath on your throat. Maybe you can feel it come all the way down your throat into your chest cavity. Feel your diaphragm move down as your breath comes in. Maybe you can find that spot where the diaphragm moves from expansion to contraction. That little pause at the top of the breath. Diaphragm does a little like switch from expansion to contraction at that top of the breath. And then on your next exhale, just start to gently move your right hand towards your left knee. Left knee, and then your left hand behind you into a gentle twist. Maybe take a breath. If you have more space to twist, use your exhale to twist into that. Maybe turning the head. Trying to keep the chin parallel with the ground. Trying to keep the shoulders away from the ears as much as possible. Trying to grow tall through the spine. And then left hand comes back, right hand comes to its own knee. Pause in the center. Just notice the body for a moment, maybe closing your eyes or casting your eyes down. I always find it easier to like feel and notice things in my body if I shut off some of my other senses. It's hard to close our ears, but it's pretty easy to close our eyes. And then eventually left hand reaches across to right knee, right hand reaches back. Trying to do that maybe on an exhale. Pause for a breath, and then if you have more twisting to do that on your exhale. Maybe using the head to continue the twist through the upper spine. Deep breaths. And then gently bringing the right hand back to the right knee and left hand goes to the left knee. Go ahead and roll out the shoulders however you want. Together as a unit or one at a time. And then switch the direction. Whichever direction you pick first. I always feel like the second direction is like awkward. Go with it. It's good to move our bodies in all the ways. And then when you're ready, let's inhale, sweep the arms up and side bend over to the right. Inhale when you're ready, come back to center and exhale over to the left. Inhale, come up to center, and then move at your own pace if you want to stay for a full breath in the side bend, or if you want to move more. That's totally up to you. When you're in the side bend, try to make sure that your shoulder isn't coming forward and that your shoulder isn't pushing back. Try to be right in the middle. Keep going, letting your breath be your guide. And then the next time that you've gone both directions, So to the left will be your last one. Come back to center and exhale. Let the arms come down. Swing the legs off to one side and come up over to hands and knees. So if you want to put a blanket or some extra padding underneath, if you want to take a drink of water, this is a good time. We'll meet in table, and we're going to start by wagging the tail. So bring the hips to one side, and then the other. Just keep going back and forth in whatever rhythm you feel is right for your body. And then when you feel ready, start to kind of circle it. So going through a little bit of child's pose, coming forward a little bit. If that bothers the wrists, you can come to fists, or you can just walk your hands out a little bit so that you're not quite in a table base, but that makes it so that you don't over flex your wrists. And if you have any pain in the knees, I would just suggest extra padding or a little bit less of a circle. Go the other way. Getting a little bit of movement into the hips here before we work them and our core. And then come back to a table. So if you slid your hands out, bring them back under the shoulders, pause that hip movement, and come into a cat-cow. Inhaling belly down to the mat, chin into elbow lift. Exhale into cat, shoulders come around up towards the ears, belly pulls towards the spine. Move with your breath. And then come back to table. So we're going to do our spinal balance here, and as always, there are lots and lots of options. So let's start with the right leg, shooting back from the hip, heel tries to reach the wall behind you, toes point down. So you can stay here. You can also flow it with both hands down. So exhale comes in, knee towards forehead, inhale, brings it out. Exhale to come in, inhale to come out. Other options are to add the left arm. You can just hold still. You can flow by bringing the elbow with the head. And then the other option is to bring the arm and the knee to the side once, and then center. So that side one is really great for the side abdominals, which we sometimes work and sometimes don't. So inhaling to reach, exhaling to come in. 2 more, whatever you're doing. Good job. I like the sides. Good job, strong women. And then come back to table. Take a little rest. Maybe do some hip rocks, wagging the tail. Maybe take a down dog if that is what you feel like is a resting pose for you. You can take a child's pose if you want to. Few breaths between sides. Spinal balance is like more core work than I think we realize. And so it's always nice to take a break. All right, then coming back into it. This time, left leg lifts behind. All the same options. You can add the arm or you cannot. You can flow it or you cannot. If you're staying still, just focus on the belly. Really make the belly strong, pulling every part of the belly from your rib cage all the way down to your pelvic bone towards the spine. And then on the exhale, if you're flowing, you come in. Inhale to extend. Exhale, maybe the knee and elbow come to the side. Inhale, extend. Keep going, 2 more. And then when you float the hand and the leg, or just the leg down, go ahead and take a child's pose, or a puppy pose, or a down dog. Deep breaths. Whatever pose you're choosing, this is an inversion, so the head is slightly below the heart. In child's pose, a little bit more below the heart in puppy, and even more below the heart in down dog. Inversions are great because they reverse the blood flow. So the blood flow flows easier to the head, and that increases good mood, which is good. Just extra blood flow to the brain helps mood. When you're ready, inhale. If you're in down dog, drop the knees down. If you're in child's pose or puppy pose, you can just walk the hands over to the side, and then exhale, drink. We're gonna do a little side stretch here. You might feel compression in the hip flexor. That's okay, but we never ever want pain. If you ever feel pain in yoga class, back off. Stop doing whatever it is that's being suggested and do something else or ask for a modification. Inhale, lift the gaze, walk the hands all the way over to the left, and then drape. Deep breaths into the back body. Let those back rib cage spaces expand up towards the ceiling and out towards the side walls. Inhale, lift the gaze, walk the hands back to center and rest for a couple of moments in child's pose or puppy pose or down dog. When you next inhale, lift the gaze, come back to table. So we're going to bring the right leg forward. And if it doesn't come all the way forward, feel free to use your right hand to help it there. But we're going to come into a lunge. So once you get the leg positioned, move the hips forward and down as much as your body will allow. And I'm sorry that I can't give you guys props. I love blocks. I know. I love blocks. Even though I can reach the mat, it's always nice to have like that extra space. in my chest and upper body area. But we've just got to work with what we have, right? So on fingertips, maybe walk the hands back as the hips shift back and the front toes reach up towards the sky as much as possible. So strong stretch in the back of the body of the right leg. So just be gentle and patient with your body. Once again, getting to know your body. Shift the hips forward as the right foot plants. Hands come forward. This time, maybe right hand can come up onto the thigh. Maybe left hand can join it, and we can feel that like extra space that we can get. If your balance is good, and you have a little bit of extra space, maybe the hips can sink into the pose a bit. Left hand comes down if it was up, right hand joins it. Walk the hands back, straighten the front knee, lift the front toes, hips and hands shift back. Try to make your tailbone like meet the back wall. That's only if you have a little space. If it's already a big stretch for you, you probably don't want to try to lift the tailbone up at all. Walk the hands forward. Thank you, back of the leg, for being so strong. That's what makes it tight. It's strong. And then again, if you want to bring the hands to the thighs, and for extra credit, so not necessary to do, you can twist towards the front leg, and maybe you can hook the left elbow on the outside. And you can just hold the right hand on the outer part of the thigh and hook the left elbow. Maybe that's where your body stops. Beautiful. Unhook the left elbow if that is where you went. Right hand comes down. Shift the hips back just enough that you can start pulling that leg back to meet the other one. Shake out the hips. Ooh. You can roll them out. You can like shake no. And then when you're ready, left leg is going to come forward. Once you have the foot planted, the hips can shift forward and down. And then you're just going to feel what this low lunge feels like. Breathe. And then when you're ready, start to shift the hips back, straighten the front leg, lift the front toes. Self-study, just notice the difference between this side and the other side. Usually this is my more flexible side. It's pretty sore today. Walk the hands forward, shift the hips, plant the foot, enjoy the train. And then if you want, you can bring the left hand up to the thigh, and maybe that's where you stop. Maybe the right hand can come up. And when I lift my torso up, I get a better stretch through my front of my leg. And if your balance isn't there on this side, that's okay. You don't always have to make the sides even. That's just something to know. Let the hands drift back down to the mat. Shift back for the last time. Lift those toes. I know this is so hard without props for some of you, so kudos for hanging in there. Breathe. Walk the hands forward. And then once again, extra credit, maybe the left hand comes up, maybe the right hand comes up. I don't actually give you guys grades, so extra credit means nothing. So you don't have to do it. And then maybe you're gonna hook the right elbow. And sometimes, like I have extra flesh because always, I just have extra flesh. So sometimes it's nice to move the flesh over the leg. I'm not gonna do that today because I'm gonna make space for the baby, but the right arm maybe will hook, left hand will support on the thigh, a little bit of a twist. You can turn your head to continue that twist if that's where you are. And then unhook the right hand that comes down, left hand comes down. Shift the hips back just enough that you can start pulling that foot back into table. Wiggle out the hips. Little motion here before we leave table. So you can choose cat-cow. You can choose down dog, child's pose, or puppy pose if you want a rest before we move back onto our back. You could choose thread the needle if you want a little extra shoulder and back stretch. So yogi's choice right now. If you're doing something with sides, I'll warn you when you need to switch. If you're doing down dog and getting the backs of the legs, once again, maybe pedal the feet and pause on one foot. So bend when we lengthen the other leg and pause there, just to get that extra stretch. And then, if you're doing something with bigger sides than just walking the dog in down dog, go ahead and switch. C curves are also good when you bring the shoulder towards the hip and the hip towards the shoulder on one side, and you kind of look to that side, and then you straighten out, and then C curve on the other side. No, I don't give yogi playtime that often from table, so it might feel a little weird to be choosing your own adventure right now, but we've got to make our practice our own. So you should be in your second side if you chose something with sides. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then we're going to bring the hips down to one side, swing the legs around, coming through seated, but we're going straight down onto our backs. So go ahead and go there, however you want to. Getting a drink of water on your way down is a good idea. I should have said that sooner. Once you get there, bend the knees, plant the feet right there, or sorry, in line with the sits bones. Bring the hands down to the hips. So you can do a bridge at the end of this if you want. I'm not actually going to have us for sure go there, so that's one more choice that you can take or leave. But we are going to do those pelvic tucks and tilts. So when you're ready, inhale and press your low back onto the mat without lifting your hips. So part of your bum or hips will lift a little bit. And then exhale and release so the natural curve of your back comes back. And if you want to, you can overarch your back. So from the natural curve, go a little bit further. So you're pulling your sits bones towards the back ribs. So the arch gets way bigger. And maybe you can even slide your hands underneath your back when you make the arch bigger. And then inhale, bring it back through the natural curve and press the low spine onto the mat. Feel your deep core engage. And then exhale, natural curve, you can stop there, or you can do a little bit of back. You'll feel your shoulders kind of shift down towards your hips shift up towards your shoulders. And then once again, moving with the breath, pressing the low back onto the mat. And then releasing it, maybe arching a little bit more. Do that 3 more times. Just toning our deep core. Hear the breathing, which is a good thing. So keep your breath deep and long. I can't hear those of you at home. And then when you're done, come back to that neutral spine. Cross the right ankle onto the left thigh, just behind the knee. Pause for a moment, take a breath. Decide where your figure 4 is going to go today. And if it's going to include the left leg lifting off the ground, go ahead and go there. Or you can just stay with figure 4 with the left foot planted. Maybe you're going to gently rock side to side. Maybe you're going to extend the left leg into the sky. It's up to you. Take advantage of this time to get into that hip one last time. Get to know your hips a little bit better. Where are your edges? Where are your imbalances? Where are your restrictions? And then once you know that, you can start to progress towards maybe a goal that you set, or maybe just less restriction and more mobility. On your next exhale, let the left foot float back down to the ground if it was in the air. Leave the right leg crossed, and then bring those legs in that shape over to the left. Right arm goes out to a T. And then you can choose to cross the legs a little bit more to increase the twist. So bringing the knees closer to each other, or just stay in the figure 4 stance. And then if you want to, with the palm down, sweep the arm down by the body. And then inhale to sweep the arm up to T, flip the palm, and sweep the arm all the way overhead. So back to the shoulders here. Working on our hips and our shoulders. They're the 2 places we hold a lot of stress and past junk. And so we're getting to know them a little bit today. We're getting to know the restrictions we have in our physical body. Inhaling, if you're moving the arm, turn it all the way up. Palm is up on the top half. Palm is down on the bottom half. Do that motion one more time if you're doing the motion. If you don't like the motion, then opt out. Always say, not today. And then eventually bring your right hand back to a T. Palm can be up or down. And then with the engagement of your core, bring the knees back to center, uncross the right leg. Press into the feet to lift the hips just a little bit to realign the spine. Make sure the shoulders are slightly tucked underneath. And then we'll go to the other side. Cross the ankle onto the left ankle onto the right thigh, just behind the knee. Flex the left foot, pause. Notice anything in your body and then move into what your figure 4 will be today. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose, preparing the mind and the body and your spirit for final relaxation, which is coming very soon. Cultivating peace, cultivating introspection, so that we can use that in the week to come as we hopefully practice a little bit of Svadhyaya, self-study. Let the right foot float back down to the ground. Left hand can go out to a T before you rock the legs over to the right. Maybe the left foot meets the ground, maybe it doesn't. Either way is okay. And then that's the motion with the left arm. So on the exhale, it comes down towards the hip with the palm down. And then the inhale brings it back to a T, flip the palm, and then all the way overhead. And you're leaving the arm on the ground as much as you can. So back to a T, flip the palm facing down, exhaling all the way down. Inhale to bring it back to a T, flip the palm, and then the arm comes up next to the ear. Exhale to bring it down, back down to a T, flip the palm, a T, all the way down towards your hip. And then just keep moving with the breath on that motion, if that's what you're choosing to do. One more. And then eventually bring the arm back to the T. Use your core to pivot your legs back up to center. Uncross that leg. And then take any last motions you want before final relaxation. So that might be a bridge after all those hip tucks and tilts. It might be quick knees to the chest and rock. Just a moment, not even a minute, to take any last wiggles or jiggles or kicks or drinks of water. And then eventually move into whatever position, whatever props you want or need for final relaxation. Let the hips relax so the feet fall out to the sides. Bring the arms a little bit away from the body. Shoulders slightly tucked under the body. Shoulder blades, that is. And then just feel your breath coming in, going out. Coming in, going out. And for the next little bit, just stay connected to this moment, to yourself. Begin to deepen your breath. Waking the body slowly, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe reaching up above the head and stretching the body out. And then slowly making your way up to a seat. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands together, down towards heart center. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.